Hello and welcome to the full-time hangout, Arsenal versus Everton. We got the Global Gooners here, myself, Jack McDonald, and Moran Mohammadi. Moran coming off that result against Monaco. Isn't this exactly what we needed from the squad today? Very solid performance, 2-0 victory. Just got 3 points in the bag.
I'm going to slightly disagree with that. Apart from the 3 points won, I think Everton thoroughly outplayed us, especially in the second half.
Welcome to the full-time hangout, Arsenal versus Everton. Apologies for that.
Okay. But like I said, yeah, Everton thoroughly outplayed us, especially in that second half. They were closing us down very well in the midfield. They were thoroughly outplaying us, especially with them playing four in the midfield. I think they were just a step ahead of us all day today, and oddly enough, usually at the Emirates we outplay. We play. The ball movement's much better, but today we actually grinded out a result at home, which is, which is rare. Which is a rare sight to see. So yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to disagree with that. Just because I don't think they outplayed us. I think they had more possession than us, but that doesn't mean that they outplayed us. I can't really think they didn't create tons of chances. Sure, they had more of the ball than we did, but they weren't creating tons of chances. I don't think they outplayed us. But let's talk about some individual performances today, Moran. Let's talk about Olivier Giroud. Obviously, tons of criticism from a lot of people throughout from his midweek performance against Monaco, some coming from us even as well. What did we think of Olivier Giroud today? Because I find him a very frustrating player in a sense that he scores the goals that you don't think he's going to score, and he doesn't score the goals that he's supposed to score. He had 2 chances today that he missed that I thought he should have scored, but did I really expect him to score off that corner? Not really. He scores the harder chances compared to the easy ones, Moran.
Yeah, he's one of the most polarizing players I've seen at Arsenal in recent memory. He doesn't really. It's not like at times his effort is at a high, but then at times his effort's at a low. But then,
I know his effort's always consistent. His work rate is always consistent. I'd say, Moran.
If you so believe, I've seen at times this season where he hasn't matched the work rate of the other players in the squad. But regardless, today he just, it was better than the Monaco performance. That's all I can say because it couldn't be any worse. But apart from that, it was
a decent performance. Average.
It was an average Olivier Giroud performance. He misses his chances, especially point blank chances. But his hold-up play was there today. He did a few times hold-up play. Got the midfield involved. So it was good to see him returning back to his roots after the poor performance midweek. And yeah, decent performance.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I thought it was a very good finish for his goal with his weaker right foot coming off that corner. Great goal, but as you said, he's a very tantalizing player in a sense that he scores the goals that he shouldn't, and then he doesn't score the goals that he should. And just more consistent in that, but I do have to disagree. I think his work rate's always there. He always works for the badge. Going to another player that was heavily criticized throughout the week, Mesut Ozil. What did you see from him today, Moran? Because I thought kind of the same as Giroud. I thought it was an average performance. Sure, it was better than the Monaco performance, but you can't get much worse. But there is still lots of room for improvement from Mesut Ozil. What do you want to see from him going forward?
Well, he filled up his stat sheet today. He picked up 2 assists. It was a nice cross he put in for Olivier Giroud in the set piece. And then a very underrated look in the second half when he fed Thomas Rosicky at the top of the box. That's a pass that few players can actually make and can actually see on the pitch. And his vision is just one of many great aspects of his game. We got to see more consistency out of him, of course. But today, of course, again, he put in a much better performance than in the midweek because he couldn't do much worse. But yeah, he just put in a good performance. Him and Cazorla, in the past couple of weeks, they haven't been on the same page.
Yeah.
Usually one's outperforming the other. I want to see both of them maintain consistency and stability in that midfield. But apart from that, again, decent performance.
Another talking point, when I looked at the team sheet today, One glaring omission was Per Mertesacker from the game against Monaco. Obviously, he had a terrible game there. And in stepped Gabriel Paulista, or as I like to call him, the Brazilian beauty. And you know what? He had some beautiful tackles out there, Moran. What did you think of his performance? He's still settling into the Premier League, but made some brilliant last-ditch tackles.
Yeah, for sure. I think he was up there for man of the match. I think he put in a good performance. You can see though the only glaring worry in his game, not really his game, but it's his communication with the squad. You can tell that he's not on the same page in the English language as the other players. You see there's that one time near the end of the game, near the end of the match where him and Koscielny weren't on the same page, and Koscielny had to receive a yellow card for a last-ditch effort on a tackle. So you can notice that his communication's still improving, but he made two top-notch tackles, especially the one on Lukaku, which was basically guaranteeing a goal. But he came out of nowhere and put in a nice stitch tackle.
I'd have to agree. One other talking point that I want to touch on, is our fullbacks today, and Hector Bellerin and Kieran Gibbs. And even though Kieran Gibbs is more experienced player, English international, has been on the squad for a while, been in the starting lineup for a couple of years now. Honestly, Moran, I think Hector Bellerin's giving the squad more. Going forward on that right wing, I think Kieran Gibbs really needs to step up his play. He did take Nacho Monreal to the team after a couple good performances by Nacho, but I think Kieran Gibbs just needs to step up because I think Hector Bellerin was completely outplaying him on that right side.
Well, you can look at it any way you want, but you got to remember Kieran Gibbs. He's picked up a few injuries lately. He's still trying to return to, he's trying to round into form still. And when he's playing at his best, there's few left backs in the league that are better than him. To be honest, going forward, we've seen how he is going forward. He scored some sublime goals in recent memory. One that comes to mind was against Swans in the FA Cup not a few years ago. He can go forward. He's got good awareness going forward. He's got good awareness on defense for the most part. But yeah, Hector Bellerin, he looks really comfortable nowadays. He looks really well suited for the squad. Of course, his defensive awareness is, in my eyes, inconsistent at times. You can tell in certain matches that he sort of gets lost in track coming back and defending. But today, going forward, he was great. He's put in some great balls from the wing, and that's not something you really see from a 19-year-old that's really trying to round into his first season for the squad.
And just the physical skill set that he has, the speed on that right wing is sublime. But just touching on Kieran Gibbs, I'm not doubting what he's done in the past. I'm just saying very recently, especially against Monaco, I think his performance went under the radar and deserved a little more criticism than it got, because I think it was partially his fault for the performance against Monaco, and I think he just needs to step up his game. We all know he has the ability to do so. But let's talk about some good performances today, Moran. Two performances that come to mind are the two holding midfielders, in my opinion, Santi Cazorla and Francis Coquelin. Francis Coquelin looks like a very good Premier League center defensive mid. And you know what? I wouldn't have said that at the start of the year, but he has really developed into that stature. Do I think he's a world-class defensive mid? Not at all. But you know what? He could start on a lot of Premier League teams and start in that pivot. And then Santi Cazorla, he was just running the show today. I love when he plays deep. That he gives us more distribution coming from the defense. And the only question marks when he's playing at that deep role is his defensive duties. But today his defensive work rate was, I think, sublime. He won a couple tackles off Ross Barkley coming back 2 or 3 times, and I think it was just an overall great performance from Santi Cazorla, and I think he was my man of the match.
He did have a good performance, nothing special, but my man of the match, I think it has to go to David Ospina. I think bouncing back from, the horrid show that was midweek against Monaco, where he could have done better in a couple of the goals, especially the first and the third. He could have done much better, but today he was, he played up to the standards, really. That save on Lukaku in the second half to really preserve Arsenal's lead was world class. He was coming out for balls. Of course, there's that usual worry that, there's that one free kick where he just palmed it away. There's always that worry about his hands. He lacks confidence in catching the ball. He likes to punch it out. But I think, even he came out like a sweeper. He came out like Manuel Neuer at times, all over the pitch, making tackles. I think he was by far the man of the match. If it wasn't for him, Everton could have easily won this match.
And touching on that Ospina point there, Marin, the difference between him and Szczesny, I think, is not the shot-stopping ability. Personally, I think Szczesny's a better shot-stopper, but just the decision-making, the calmness he brings to the squad, the distribution decisions, just the decision-making. That's a big part of goalkeeping. And sometimes with Szczesny, his decisions aren't great. He comes out, gives away some penalties. But with Ospina, he's a very experienced goalkeeper and tends to always make the right decision. And sometimes that's more important than just pure shot-stopping ability. But another player, man, Alexis Sanchez, another game under his belt. Do you think he needs a rest soon? Because we are seeing some good production from Oxlade-Chamberlain on the wing. Maybe he could slide over to the left side and then maybe open up a spot for Theo or Danny Welbeck to play on the right. Do you think Alexis Sanchez needs a break going forward? Obviously not. We need him against a big match against United, but after that, he just looks like he needs a rest.
Yeah, I agree. I think midweek against QPR, of course, there's always a threat going away to a Premier League squad, especially one like QPR. So, yeah, I think midweek he should be rested. I think if Walcott is fit enough to play half an hour to 20 minutes against Monaco, I think he should be ready to play, full match.
I agree. Here's a comment from Toby Wallace. Good win and boosted confidence as we head to Old Trafford. We must put up a good show there. It's realistically our last shot at a trophy this season. Can't argue with that, Moran. The FA Cup is one of our last attempts for a trophy, barring a miracle in Monaco and an unbelievable collapse by Chelsea in the league. But going forward, we need to solidify that third and fourth spot. And you know what? Do you think we can go on and win the cup?
Well, yeah. I think if we beat United at Old Trafford, we can still win. Retain. No, obviously, there's a story that plays in my mind of that it's being destined for Liverpool to win this card one last time, which fears me. But I think we have enough to team that's left in the FA Cup.
Yeah. Any last words, Marin? I think we summarized everything right now. Good 2-0 result. You thought we got outplayed, but I'd have to disagree. I don't think we got outplayed. We just sat back, let Everton have their possession.
Yeah, but why would we sat a club like Everton, mid-table and let them dominate the ball like that? Which thrives on possession. I didn't understand that. They were moving the ball all over the pitch. And they were creating more chances than we did, especially in the second half. And if not, Gabriel, we having a different hangout.
Yeah. Well, I think we didn't really dominate possession because we didn't need to, Marin. We got that first goal. We were 1-0 up, and then I do agree that maybe we should have brought the game to them a little more in that second half instead of holding on. Maybe go on and get that second insurance goal a little earlier. But overall, Moran, coming off a tough performance against Monaco, we just needed the W, and we got the 3 points today, especially on a day where Liverpool won. You said Chelsea are winning right now. Manchester United won yesterday. We really just needed 3 points to solidify our race for that third and fourth spot, and I think that's what we produced today. You can't really ask for much more. We got a little bit of a bounce-back performance from Olivier Giroud and Mesut Ozil. Solid performance from the back four, and David Ospina kept a clean sheet. You can't complain. Can't complain. Any last words, Marin?
Yeah. I don't think the Champions League. I really don't think.
I really don't think that.
I think a team that's
I think a team that's
all time
all time
really claw back into this
claw
one,
back into this one,
especially in a city like a place like Monaco,
place like Monaco,
place of casinos,
casinos,
and with the
Yeah,
returns of
and
Jack
with the
and
Jack
Ramsey,
and Ramsey building,
I like my odds.
I like my odds.
I don't like the odds, Brian. I'm still a believer, but you know what? If we went in there with 2-1 instead of 3-1, I would be right there with you. 2-1 is way more of a manageable result than 3-1. But we need to go through. We need to go there and win 3-0 or 4-1. And is there a chance we can do it? Yes, but I'm not entirely sure that it will be done. But actually, let's have one last talking point here. You brought up the return of Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey. Who do you think is going to have more of an impact on this? Because this is a debate that has stretched for a very long time. I think the Arsenal fan base. Who we want is our box-to-box midfielder, Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey. I have a feeling it's going to be Jack Wilshere. Let's hear it.
Jack Wilshere's my guy. I gotta stick with Jack Wilshere. I think as great as Aaron Ramsey was last season, he's had a good performances this year and not up to the same standards as last year. But I think Jack Wilshere, he brings that fight, he brings that spirit, he brings that never say die attitude. And I think that's enough for him. That's enough for the squad to uplift them for a return like in Monaco to pull out a performance that's unworldly from Arsenal.
But then I'd have to disagree because if you look at the players that box-to-box midfielders are going to be coming into, it's going to be Francis Coquelin, who already gives us that fighting spirit that we don't necessarily need as much from our box-to-box midfielder. He's playing with Santi Cazorla. And then Aaron Ramsey just gives us goals and assists. I think he's more of a threat to put the ball in the back of the net than Jack Wilshere personally. And I'd have to go with Aaron Ramsey. Actually, that's a good comment discussion. So comment who you're looking forward to coming back more, Jack Wilshere or Aaron Ramsey. We'll be interested to read the comments on that one. But thanks for joining us today for the full-time Hangout Arsenal versus Everton. 3 points in the bag, onwards and upwards, and can't ask for more than that. Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you Gunners.